The screen blinked twice before going black. I just stood there, staring at the monitor like it had slapped me. 30 minutes ago, I'd been prepping a segment for prime time, sipping lukewarm coffee, and feeling like I finally had some grip on my spiraling life. Now, every file on my laptop was gone. Wiped. Notes, interviews, confidential emails. All of it. "Ashley!" I called out, trying not to let panic curdle into my voice. She appeared in the doorway, tying her robe, a soft smile still clinging to her lips from whatever dream I'd just ripped her out of. "What's wrong?" I held up the laptop. "Everything's gone. My entire investigation on Cole." Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me. "What do you mean, gone?" "I mean gone, Ash. Like someone hacked it." We both stood in silence, the kind that stretches, heavy with unspoken truths. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying the last 3 weeks. Every interview, every encrypted file transfer, every whispered conversation with sources risking their careers to expose Cole Reinhardt, my former mentor turned nemesis. I had him. I finally had him. Now, I had nothing. At 4:12 a.m., I got the notification, account accessed from unknown device. I opened the IP trace. My blood went ice cold. The signal came from inside the house. Our house. "Ashley?" I asked again the next morning, more cautious now. She was on her phone, messaging someone. She turned its screen down. Too quick. "Who are you talking to?" "Work," she said. "Deadline stuff." She was always deadline stuff. Freelance journalism was like that. Fluid, chaotic, and lately she'd been secretive, buried in research on some military ethics article I hadn't read. "Can I see it?" She raised an eyebrow. "What? The article?" "Number your phone." The look she gave me, that flash of something like pity before the steel shutters closed over her eyes, was worse than a slap. She stood, walked to the kitchen, and poured herself coffee instead of answering. I should have shouted. I should have grabbed the phone. But I didn't. I just stared at her back, watching how calmly she stirred her cream in, like we weren't standing on the edge of something irreparable. Later that day, I did what I should have done weeks ago. I logged into the proxy server I'd installed months back to track unusual data transfers. There it was. Every leak, every stolen document, sent to an encrypted address. Same recipient every time. The username? Ash Reports. I couldn't breathe. I paced. I laughed once, bitterly, trying to make it absurd so it wouldn't feel so much like my entire marriage detonating in slow motion. She'd been feeding information to him. To Cole. Not anonymously, brazenly, methodically, like it was her job, and maybe it was. At 7:43 p.m., I confronted her. "I know what you've been doing." She didn't ask what I meant, didn't flinch. Her only response? "Mark, it's not what you think." I wanted to throw something. Instead, I just whispered, "Then tell me what the hell it is." She opened her mouth, paused, and then she said the most chilling thing I've ever heard from someone I loved. "I did it to protect you." And in that moment, I realized this wasn't the end. This was the beginning of something much darker. I wasn't just betrayed, I was a pawn, and the game had only just begun. 2 days earlier, I would have gone to my editor with the story. 3 days earlier, I'd have kissed Ashley on the forehead and said, "Don't wait up." Now, I was tailing her through downtown like a man auditioning for the worst spy movie ever made. She stopped outside Cafe Madeira, looked over her shoulder, didn't see me. She went inside. 10 minutes later, I saw him. Cole. Same smug grin, same tailored arrogance. He entered with the ease of someone walking into his own narrative. They didn't sit across from each other. Number. They sat, side by side. I didn't feel anger. Not yet. I felt analysis. Who spoke first? Who leaned in? Was there a signal? Were they lovers or collaborators? I snapped a photo. Blurry. Didn't matter. I watched her laugh. My wife, with him. Back home, I tried rationalizing. Maybe she was playing him. Undercover, maybe. But when I searched her laptop, I found no drafts, no half-written exposés. Just meticulous logs of every tip I'd followed, every call I'd made. She wasn't investigating him. She was investigating me. The next morning, I confronted Cole. Not as a journalist. As a man betrayed. "You've always been a snake," I said. "But involving Ashley? That's low, even for you." He took a sip of his espresso, unimpressed. "I didn't involve Ashley, she came to me. I didn't lunge, I didn't scream. I said, 'Why?'" He leaned forward. "Because she knew you were walking into something you didn't understand, and she didn't want to bury her husband." I went cold. "What the hell are you talking about? You were too close to the Phoenix story, and the people behind it don't give warnings. Ashley gave you one, by erasing your files." He stood, dropped a 20 on the table. "Be careful what you dig for, Mark. Not every truth deserves daylight." At home, Ashley was waiting. She knew I'd followed her. Of course she did. "I wanted to tell you," she said. "But how do you tell someone the truth when it could kill them? You think erasing my work protects me? You think exposing Cole was the story? He's a distraction. There's more behind him. I've seen it. You haven't. Then why lie? Because you would have run headfirst into the fire, and I'd rather you hate me than lose you." Her voice broke, but not her resolve. I left without answering. I needed to breathe, think. Outside, the world looked the same. Inside, everything was different. That night, I reviewed the logs she didn't erase. She'd kept backups, select ones. Not all, but enough. The ones that led not to Cole, but to a shell company tied to a military contractor with a body count. She hadn't betrayed me. She'd redirected me. And now I had a new name to chase. Only this time, I wouldn't run blind. And I wouldn't run alone. I drove 6 hours straight, radio off, thoughts loud. The folder Ashley left on the desk had one name scribbled on the cover: Parallax. Inside, a map of influence. Shell corporations, former military operatives, journalists either silenced or disappeared. And one photo of a man I'd met once, at a journalism gala, who had offered a job I turned down. Smiling, silver-haired, power in his posture. Clayton Voss. Ashley had highlighted him. At a dusty diner just off the interstate, I set up my laptop. The public Wi-Fi was trash, but I wasn't uploading, just reading. Parallax had ties to misinformation campaigns, private security, smear operations, and every thread led back to Voss. He was the threat, not Cole. Cole was the leak Parallax fed to keep watchdogs like me busy. And Ashley? She'd been buying me time. She'd lied, yes, but not for gain, for protection. That complicated things in a way I didn't want to face yet. Back home, I walked through our apartment like a stranger, framed photos like lies in wood. I opened a bottle of scotch I'd been saving for my Pulitzer. Now it felt like the consolation prize for a ruined marriage. Ashley came in quietly. "I know you went," she said. "To Voss." "I didn't talk to him," I replied. "Just watched." "He's dangerous, Mark. He doesn't need leverage. He is leverage." "Then why aren't you running?" "Because I already did. For 3 months. I ran. I hid. I recorded everything. And when I saw your name in one of their files, I came back." That was the shift. Right there. Her betrayal cracked. A truth began to emerge through it. She hadn't broken my trust. She'd gambled it. Risked it to save me. I stepped closer, not forgiving, just recalibrating. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. "Tell the story." the real one, but not alone. There was a beat, a silent agreement. We worked that night side by side like old times. She typed. I fact-checked. We mapped the connections, built the framework for a story that would burn half the city if printed raw. At 3:07 a.m., she looked at me and said, "They'll come for us." I nodded. Let them. We weren't journalists now. We were witnesses. And we had nothing left to lose. It started with a whisper in a newsroom hallway. A junior reporter, barely old enough to rent a car, passed me a flash drive with a single name. Ketteridge. Another breadcrumb. Ashley and I stared at it that night, knowing it was bait. But we were too deep now. We couldn't stop. Ketteridge turned out to be a logistics firm, front for arms distribution. And in a twisted, elegant move, Cole Reinhardt was their media puppeteer. Not the architect, just the messenger. A distraction, Ashley had said. She was right. The next step wasn't loud. It was strategic. We posted a teaser on the station's blog, a sanitized leak, enough to stir the pot, a photo of Ketteridge's ledger, names blurred, a breadcrumb of our own. The city buzzed. Reddit lit up. Cole went live on his own podcast and called it a fabrication designed to defame honest defense contractors. That was our signal. He was nervous. We made our move. Ashley set up a meeting at a gallery opening, neutral territory, full of donors, media, cameras. Cole loved that crowd. When he spotted me, his eyes tightened. He smiled anyway. "Mark," he said, clapping my shoulder, "glad to see you're still breathing." "Likewise," I said. "Want to comment on your connection to Ketteridge before it hits front pages tomorrow?" His smile twitched. "You're bluffing." From across the room, Ashley raised her phone. Live. "I don't bluff," I said. A beat of silence. He turned to Ashley. "You're going to destroy him, you know. You think they'll let you walk after this?" She didn't flinch. "They already tried." Then I saw it. His fear. Not rage, not anger, real, creeping fear. For the first time, Cole wasn't directing the script. He was just another actor in someone else's show. He leaned in. "You're making a mistake. You don't understand what Parallax is, who they own." "Then let them come," I said. We walked away. That night, we published the first part of the story. No names yet, just dots, patterns, implications. The station called, then sponsors, then legal. But no one pulled the story, because the public wanted blood, and we weren't finished. Ashley turned to me after we hit publish. "You ready for what comes next?" I stared at the screen, the chaos unfolding in real time. "Yeah," I said. "Let's burn it all." The email hit at 2:06 a.m. No subject line, no text, just an attachment titled, "Final Payment Madrid." Inside, a single image, a transfer slip, $750,000 to an offshore account. The recipient? A.R. Myers. Ashley's maiden name. For 10 full seconds, I couldn't breathe. I turned to her. She was asleep on the couch, open laptop beside her, half-finished notes glowing on the screen. We'd spent the last 4 days in sync, exposing Parallax layer by layer, sharing coffees, codes, a bed again. And now this. My hands shook as I printed the photo, pinned it to the wall above her conspiracy grid, watched the ink dry like blood spreading. At dawn, I left. No note. No goodbye. I drove aimlessly for hours until my tank blinked red and the silence screamed too loud. Then I called Cole. "Let's meet." His voice was too calm. "Thought you were done with me?" "Not quite." We met at a marina on the outskirts. No cameras, no allies. "Is it real?" I asked, showing him the photo. He whistled. "Oof, that's gonna sting. Did you send it?" He shrugged. "Does it matter?" I wanted to hit him. Instead, I asked, What was she buying with that money? Maybe freedom, maybe time, maybe your head. I drove back to the apartment, rehearsing what I'd say. But I didn't need to. Ashley was gone. The wall was stripped, files, photos, cleared, like we'd never worked together, like she'd never been mine. Except for one thing. The photo I'd printed. She left it. And beneath it, she'd written 5 words in Sharpie. It was never for me. I collapsed onto the floor, laughed until I couldn't, until it became something else. Had she lied again? Or was this the truth she couldn't carry? I didn't know what to believe. All I knew was that everything I thought I'd rebuilt had shattered again. And this time, there was no one left to help pick up the pieces. Just me. Alone. With a story no one could trust, and a love I couldn't prove was ever real. The next time I saw her was in the most public place possible. Live on a broadcast I didn't produce, didn't greenlight, didn't even know was happening until her face appeared on every screen in the newsroom. Ashley, calm, measured, on a rival network. She spoke straight into the camera. My name is Ashley Myers, and I have information about a domestic intelligence operation that has used journalists, including my husband, without their knowledge, as data conduits for politically targeted campaigns. Gasps. Phones lifted. I froze. She didn't out me. She protected me with every sentence. She framed herself as the go-between, the reluctant middle. Took the fall for me, by name. And then she said it. There is one journalist who tried to tell the truth from the beginning. His name is Mark Warren. He is not my accomplice. He is my witness. My chest caved in. This was her move. The crowd erupted. Cole's podcast went dark midstream. Messages flooded in. Everyone wanted my response, my quote, my loyalty. But I wasn't thinking strategy anymore. I was thinking, where is she? And then I saw her, at the back of the newsroom. Hoodie, eyes sunken, small smile. She'd slipped past security, past editors, past every defense I thought I'd rebuilt. I met her there, between a printer and the emergency exit. You're insane, I said. I know, she said. But it worked. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. She reached into her bag, pulled out a hard drive. It's all there, every name, every payment, even the ones I didn't want you to see. And the $750? Not for me, she whispered. To pay off the fixer who was sent to silence you. They called it hazard insurance. I called it love. I didn't know what to say. So I kissed her. Not like a husband. Like a man who'd been buried and just surfaced. Behind us, the newsroom roared. Not at us, at the story unfolding. Screens lit up. Names dropped. Indictments triggered. A firestorm began. We didn't stay to watch. We walked out. No press release. No interview. Just 2 shadows stepping into the light of a world they'd torn open and built anew.